Yeah, greetings everybody. It's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. You know him? It's me actually. Yeah. Today I'm going to talk about prison officers being put into the dock, into the Crown Court. There's a guy, I think he's from Barnsley, who's just been arrested and charged. He goes to court in May, I believe it is. Charged with distributing extreme literature that would encourage terrorist offences. Apparently it's very disturbing what he's been doing, and he's awaiting trial. He's serving prison officer, by the way. When I was at Strangeways in 79, 80, round about then, the National Front was going. If the authorities today had seen what I saw back then, they'd have arrested half of Strangeways. They had things there denying the Holocaust. Yeah, white power. They were arranging marches through Manchester of the National Front from Strangeways. The leader of the Northwest branch of the National Front was a principal officer at Strangeways. Don't believe me, have a look. Brian Baldwin was his name. He was also the chairman of the Prison Officers Association, and Brian Baldwin went on from that to be the governor in charge of race relations. It beggars belief. I mean, I had him in all the papers. I wrote a big report on him for a politician called Eric Heffer, who was a left-wing politician from Liverpool. For Walton, he was elected to the Walton seat, and he asked me to do some research on the National Front, which I did and sent it to him, and he used that in Parliament, I believe. You know, they were trying to get the National Front banned from the prisons, which it was a pseudo political party. I went to one of their meetings, not because I was interested, but because I was asked to make a report on it. And they had a guy called David Dukes, who was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan in America. He was over in England, actually staying with Brian Baldwin. And he made a speech about white power and how we were racially pure and we mustn't allow this, all that nonsense. It was really bad. I submitted a report not only to Eric Heffer, but I sent the paper to the Jewish Gazette. You know what I mean? Can't have that. It's madness. I mean, basically what they were doing was stirring up hatred. Anyway, this guy, he was from Barnsley, serving prison officer, didn't say where he was serving at, but he is now awaiting trial for distributing terrorist literature. And the National Front wasn't exactly a terrorist organisation, but it might as damn well have been. As I said, they were arranging marches through the middle of Manchester, and then they invited me in to help them plan how they were going to cause disruption to the marches. They thought I was a fellow traveller. Believe me, I was not. Anyway, there's also in the news today another prison officer in court. There's loads of them these days, along with the police. I mean, let's face it, the Home Office have got it sorted now. They know how to get the criminals, because they employ them. Yeah, this poor lady is called Joanne Hunter. She's aged 27. And she lives in Bury in Greater Manchester, and she has been charged with various offences, including smuggling a mobile phone into an inmate. And guess what? She was having an inappropriate relationship with this prisoner. An inappropriate relationship. I mean, what is an appropriate relationship? And you wonder what she looks like. Well, she's a pretty girl. I think she's a pretty girl. I mean, it's subjective, isn't it? Yeah, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but there we are. That's the lady. Can you see? Not very clear, is it? Oh, there we are. You can just about see that. Yeah, that's Joanne Hunter from Bury. Was a serving prison officer. She's got a master's degree in humanities, something to do with care of childhood, youth care. And anyway, she was obviously caring about something else because she's managed to get herself into Crown Court. Inappropriate relationship with an inmate. She was at HMP prison, Forest Bank. And the offences were allegedly committed in the December 2020. She's been before the magistrates and committed to Crown Court for plea on the 23rd of March. She'll be up there. As it says, she was a graduate with a master's degree in youth studies. That's part of the humanities thing. It's a waste of a young life, don't you think? Pretty young lady like that, you can imagine it. I mean, let's be sympathetic here. Yeah, if it was your daughter, yeah, I have got a daughter, yeah, and she's got a degree in social work or something like that. She's a social worker, my daughter. Those of you who have read my book, which is here by the way, here we are, I've got a copy of it here, we are. Those of you who have read my book will have read about the arrival of my daughter, because she was born at Hammersmith Hospital in London when I was serving at Wormwood Scrubs prison. Dulcie Jane, yeah. As I say, she's got a degree now. She's married to a scientist. This scientist is coming over this evening to help me. My wife's bought me a new bed. He's going to help put my bed up for me. Anyway, yeah, so basically that beautiful young lady, 27 years old, working at HMP Forest Bank, a male prison, has been seduced by one of the prisoners there and persuaded that it's perfectly okay to bring him on. She was bringing cannabis in as well. I mean, come on, she wouldn't have set out to do that, would she? She's obviously been corrupted and twisted. It's a disgrace. I believe, you know, that in the fullness of time somebody will issue proceedings against the Ministry of Justice. But the problem we've got with doing that is that they have what's known as Crown immunity. You know, so you cannot proceed against the Crown, you know, it being an office of state, the Ministry of Justice. Yeah, the Ministry of Injustice might be a little bit more on point. So, what with terrorism and corruption, watch this space. So, yeah, that's my little rant for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's very unfortunate for that poor lady, don't you think? I mean, one minute she's the hostess of a wing on Forest Bank. Next minute she's occupying a cell. I mean, she won't get sentenced to. You won't be able to serve a sentence in a male prison unless, here's the thing, she might suddenly go trans. She might suddenly become a man. She doesn't look like a bloke at the moment. But then that silly bastard that we saw the other day, what's her name, Ilsa Bryson, don't look like a woman. Waltzing round the female shower unit with his tackle hanging out. Right. Anyway, I'm going to sing you a song now. Now listen, this is a very special song for me. Well, it's more of a poem than a song, because it's what enabled me to start memorising poetry and literature. Because when I was in the Boy Scouts, they had a gang show night, and I was told I was going to recite this poem, and I didn't remember it. You know, I didn't remember the words properly. Give me a sec. Sneezing there. So I didn't remember the words, so I got on stage, a couple of hundred people there watching the gang show, and I didn't completely freeze, but I didn't remember the words properly. But anyway, I still haven't remembered the words properly, but I've got it here. So I'm now going to recite and sing for you in a very strange way. There are fairies at the bottom of our garden. This is especially for Larry. Now I know that Larry believes in fairies, believes in Billy Goat Gruff and big wellies. And I mean, you would do if you were from Rotherham, wouldn't you? Over the hills and far away. There are fairies at the bottom of our garden, and it's not so very, very far away. You pass the garden shed, and you just keep straight ahead. I do so hope they've really come to stay. There's a little wood with moss in it and beetles, and a little stream that quietly runs through. You wouldn't think they'd dare to come merrymaking there. Well, they do. There are fairies at the bottom of our garden. They often have a dance on summer nights. The butterflies and bees make a lovely little breeze, and the rabbits stand about and hold the lights. Did you know that they could sit upon a moonbeam and pick a little star to make a fan, and dance away up there in the middle of the air? Well, they can. There are fairies at the bottom of our garden. You cannot think how beautiful they are. They all stand up and sing when the fairy queen and king come gently floating down upon their car. The king is very proud and very handsome. The queen, now you can guess who that could be. She's a little girl all day, but at night she steals away. Well, it's not me. Unless I've gone trance, I'm suddenly a fairy. I could be, couldn't I? So there you have it. There are fairies at the bottom of my garden. Look, anybody who goes onto TikTok, look up my channel on TikTok. I've got a little TikTok video up there of Tyson Fury singing "There are fairies at the bottom of my garden." The username on TikTok is Jailer John. And there's loads of stuff up there. I've got one here. I'll show you one, eh? You want to see one? I'm sure you do. Yeah. There are fairies at the bottom of our garden, and it's not so very, very far away.
Being an integrated transport policy is that such a policy is in...
Where are we? Come on.
Look at this.
Here we are. That's it. There are fairies. There are fairies at the bottom of our garden. Yeah, that's on my TikTok channel. So I sincerely hope you'll enjoy that, folks. It's Tales from the Jails from today. And do like, subscribe and all the rest of it. And we'll meet again.